social issues on The Brian Crombie Show on Canada One TV. Good evening and welcome to the Brian Crombie Show on Canada One TV. One of the things I get to do is introduce you to fascinating people, and one of the people I'm going to introduce you to tonight is Ritesh Malik, who is a friend of mine in the Mississauga, Brampton, Peel, Toronto area for almost in the last decade or so. And he is interesting because of a couple different things. Number one, his business career is fascinating, but then also because he writes a daily blog, an inspirational blog that I've been honored to receive every morning for the last, I don't know how many years you've been doing it. And he's one of the most inspirational people I've met. And Ritesh, thank you for joining us tonight. How are you doing?
Thank you, Brian. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Now, this daily blog, how did you get into writing? You're a business guy. How did you get into writing a daily inspirational blog that you send out to, how many people is it?
About 500 now.
500 people you send it out to?
Yes.
And why do you do this?
Coming from India, I've been always born and brought up in a way whereby we are very social, and I always like to meet with people, talk to my friends and family. We are very closely knit, right from my childhood days. And when I moved to Canada, and a lot of my childhood friends and people I love talking to, and people who love talking to me, they were always calling me and telling me, we miss chatting with you and, doing our evening discussions over tea and whatnot. So I just thought, and I started reading quite a bit, and whenever I read something and like something, I really want to share it with my friends, family, and people whom I feel that particular thing will resonate. So that's how it just started, and it has kind of
it's grown to 500 people.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
And now, a lot of people, once if I don't message for a week or so, or if I'm, just not in that space, people would call me from India, from UK, from Australia. Oh, what you've been up to? We haven't received anything.
We've been waiting. Message recently.
We've been waiting for that.
Well, I think I probably am one of those people that, waits and hopes that I get your inspirational message on a regular basis. And as you know, because I've asked you permission a few times, I copy them and repost them because I'm so impressed by where they come from. Now, so you read a lot. Are there favorite authors that you or people that you read?
I actually read quite a lot of Osho. Osho is like a philosopher guide, a guru from India in early 90s, 90s. And he actually did not write anything, but he gave a lot of discourses to his disciples or people who followed him. Every morning he would come out.
Osho.
Osho. O-S-H-O.
O-S-H-O, okay.
So
and this is written in Hindi or?
Oh, he actually spoke in English and Hindi quite a bit.
But it's translated to English?
It's translated into every language in the world. So whatever he spoke for last 20, 25 years of his life has now been kind of put together in books on various subjects. He's spoken on Mahavir, Krishna, Ram, Christianity, Islam, everything you can think of. And I get a lot of inspiration from his books. And plus, I also read quite a bit of everything. Anything and everything I can lay my hands on, which kind of inspires or kind of helps me grow in life.
And if you thought there was one principle or an overriding principle, what would you think it would be?
Love and gratitude.
Love and
gratitude. I mean, I personally believe that these are the two highest operating frequencies in this world. And if you have love, and by love I don't mean that love for a particular human being, love for anything and everything. I mean, you cannot love, you have to be love. So love and
you can't love, you have to be love.
Which means that I cannot say I love you, or it's like most of the times we take love as if I love my wife, it's because of the relationship. I love my children because I have a bond with them. But I am only love if I love everything and anything. I mean, it's not related to the relationship or like what I gain from that person. So that's
okay, now, hold on. You're a business guy. You're a real estate investor. You've traveled the world. How did you become this guy that's about love and gratitude and writing inspirational messages every day? That's what a Buddhist monk should be doing, not Ritesh Malik.
I know a lot of people say that, but I believe end of the day, I believe in a particular math for life. I started a organization last year called Math for Life. Math for Life, M-A-T-H, Math for Life, mathematics, math for life.
Okay.
Lot many people, when they read that, they say, are you starting math coaching classes or whatnot? But I strongly believe in, say, I have a friend who's a big sports person in India, big cricket player. So when I talked to him, he had cancer a couple of years ago. And a lot of people know his math of life as he scored those many runs, he's played in those many international games. And that is how most of us talk about our math of life is like how much we made money, how you
keep score.
Score of everything. But I personally feel our real math of life is how much influence we had on others, how many people we helped, how many people we actually were able to make them happy.
Really?
So we started this, and I don't know, probably, this is my past karma that I was born with that, and I'm just carrying forward from there.
Well, that's inspirational. And so thank you for that. I'll tell you one story about math that I like. So I was doing my doctorate in business, and in an organizational behavior course, we had to read a book called The Mathematics of Marriage. And I was going, mathematics of marriage? Oh my God, what's the mathematics of marriage? And it's interesting. So a bunch of philosophers did a study of marriage, and they found that if you had 7 positive interactions for every one negative interaction, you would have a successful marriage.
Absolutely.
But if you had a ratio of 3 to 1, then you would more likely get divorced. If it was 3 to 5, then it was questionable. If it was 5 to 7, you might last a while, but it was 7 to 1, then you were better off. But it was also interesting, if it was 10 to 1, then the person was a doormat. And there was never any criticism, never any growth, never any construction. So I thought that was interesting. And then what they did is they applied this mathematics of marriage to business and to other social interactions. It wasn't exactly the same. The math came down a little bit. You didn't have to be quite as positive versus negative. But the point being that people focus too much on the negativity, not as much on the positivity. And so if you want to be overall positive, you have to have 7 times as much positive interaction as the negative interactions.
Absolutely. I've had a lot of influence from my parents on my life, and my parents always talked about this particular thing that, end of the day, whatever will make you happy is not how much you accumulate, but if you are able to, there's a small test. At night, if you can sleep well, that means you are doing right in life. So I very strongly believe in that when I go home in the evening, if I can sleep peacefully and with no burden on my chest, that's what makes me, and that's what my, the whole aim of life is. I try and do things which just keep me happy and people around me also happy and, grow.
Now, one of the other things you mentioned at one of your posts was you have to surrender to the flow.
I've always...
What do you mean by that?
I always believe in that principle that, acceptance is, people who cannot accept are always miserable, accept whatever comes in their life. So I've always gone with that principle of surrendering to the universe, and whatever comes our way, whether good or bad, just accept it with all the humility and gratitude. Again, I'm coming back to love and gratitude.
Right.
So gratitude, not everything might go our way, but if we have gratitude towards the universe and everything which is coming into our life, eventually it translates into happiness.
So you surrender to both the positive and to the negative?
Absolutely.
So if something negative happens, you don't fight against it, you don't try to change it, you don't try to overcome it?
It's in human nature to try and, we always look for good. We always want positive things for us. That is called karma. We do our bit and expect everything to fall in place.
Right.
But if it doesn't, I believe that is the bigger plan of the universe, so I just accept that.
So I have a slightly different point of view on that, and the analogy that I use is don't fight the river, don't fight the current, but go with the current, but use an oar or a steer and steer your way through the current. Or, the wind is the example. Don't fight the wind, but use the wind to your advantage, and you can tack through the wind, and you can use the wind to propel you forward. You don't have to go exactly where the wind is taking you. You can, direct the wind, but you can't fight the wind dramatically against it.
I agree but that will only happen after you have surrendered. If you don't surrender or if you don't accept, you'll continue fighting. So you cannot steer. So first you have to surrender and accept. And then when you start flowing in the flow, then you can steer it.
So first you have to surrender.
I mean, without surrendering, how would you steer? Because you're again fighting against the current. That's what I feel.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Now, again, I'm surprised a business guy has got these attitudes. So where did this come from? Let me ask you a little bit about your background. So you were born in India.
Yes.
And you've traveled around the world, I understand?
Yes, I was born in India in a business family just south of New Delhi, which is a suburb called Gurgaon, which is now part of National Capital Region. I was born and brought up there, and I had a family business, but for some reason I was always of the thought process that I wanted to do something which is boundaryless, which is not confined to any geographical area. And it comes back, a lot of my life and whatever I've done is it has fallen into place bits by bits, piece by piece, just because of my thought process.
Right.
So I just thought that I wanted a boundaryless organization, wanted to do something which has no limitations and whatnot. That kind of basically got me out of family business. I got into international relocation business, and when I started that at quite young age while I was studying, I used to travel quite a bit. Whatever initially I earned, I invested in travel, and I always thought travel was a...
And how many countries have you traveled to?
I've been to over 50, 60 countries so far.
Excellent. Well, we're going to take a break for a commercial, and we're going to come back, and I want to hear about some of those countries, okay?
Thank you.
Excellent. We're going to take a quick break right now.
GTA Real Estate Investments. Pre-construction or resale. Consult trusted realtors. Get first access and incentives. Contact Khalid Aziz or Mashood Khalid, 647-865-2949.
एयरविंग्स ट्रैवल एंड टूर्स नॉर्थ अमेरिका की सबसे बाएतमाद और फास्टेस्ट एयर ट्रैवल सर्विसेज। 25 साल का तजर्बा लिए लातादाद अफोर्डेबल ट्रैवल डील्स के साथ एक्सीलेंस इन कस्टमर सर्विसेज ऑन जस्ट वन फोन कॉल। ये है एयरविंग्स ट्रैवल एंड टूर्स। फॉर बुकिंग कॉल नाउ 1855-247-9464 or 905-272-2300. Airwings Travel and Tours.
Hello, I'm Zizi Farhan from Cityscape Real Estate. I love to help people in buying or selling their property. I've been helping buyers and sellers for a fair bit of time now. Before becoming a realtor, I was in insurance and risk management since 2005. Through my profession, I do get this opportunity to meet awesome people, and I really cherish these relationships.
Buying or selling a residential or commercial property is one of the biggest financial decisions most people will make in their life. The real estate lawyers at Alam Law Chambers will guide you through the complete real estate laws to ensure your transaction completes on time and your dreams come true. reliable, and affordable. Alam Law.
I worked very hard to build this business. Now, how can I protect it from creditors and minimize estate taxes?
My family depends on my income. What if critical illness, disability, or premature death happens to me? How will they survive?
For over 18 years, Zahid Syed of Arush Financial has been giving business owners and professionals sound advice on tax reduction, life and health insurance, and estate planning strategies.
Act now. I can help.
You do not have to wait to protect your dependents and plan your estate. Ado Law will help you take the appropriate steps. Having a will is the most important thing you can do for yourself and your dependents. Not only can a will legally protect your loved ones, it can also spell out exactly how you would like things handled after you have passed on. Ado Law, the legal professionals.
Hi, I'm Brian Crombie, and we're going to be talking on the Brian Crombie Show. We're going to be talking about politics, arts, business, and social issues on the Brian Crombie Show on Canada One TV. Good evening and welcome back to the Brian Crombie Show on Canada One TV. We're talking tonight with Ritesh Malik, who's I think a fascinating guy. He's a real estate investor, he's a business person, he's an entrepreneur, he's traveled the world, and he, because of his family background and a lot of the reading and some of his experiences, has become this inspirational kind of guy, and he's got some interesting points of view, and so I wanted to bring him to you tonight. And Ritesh, again, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Brian.
So we were just talking about you traveling the world, and you said you had traveled to 50 or 60 countries. What took you to those 50 to 60 countries?
2003, I got this opportunity to actually work with a US software company which they wanted to expand in Asia, Middle East, and Africa.
Right.
And just like anything else in my life, I just kind of took that and accepted that as a universe giving me that opportunity. And we worked quite a bit with them, and that made me travel all over the place in conferences, and plus we actually got them into different countries in Africa, Middle East, Asia. So that made me 7 years I traveled quite a bit with them all over the world.
Fantastic.
And then it kind of got into my blood. Now it's like, every year I've made it a point. I visit 2-3 different countries, 4-5 different cities, and make it a point to go.
From a business standpoint or from a tourism standpoint?
Business as well as tourism as well.
Oh, really? Do you have any sort of rules about what you visit when you're going to different countries?
Nature has to be an integral nature has to
Yep.
be an integral component to it. I don't like going to cities anymore because I feel every city is more or less the same.
Yep.
And plus, also, like I read it somewhere that be a diver, not a swimmer. So my purpose is not to
be a diver, not a swimmer.
Because swimmer, when he swims, he goes from point A to point B, but he's only on surface.
Right.
A diver might be only at one point, but he goes down and he gets the pearls. So what my thing is that when I go, I just don't go just to put a check mark that I've been to Paris, I've been to Amsterdam, or I've been to London. I try and go and absorb that place.
Yeah.
I kind of dive into it. So I would go stay a week in a city where I would do some research. It has a lot of nature component to it, lakes, rivers, mountains. I just go and try and get myself merged into it, and
I think that's a wonderful attitude. So I've been to over 50 countries myself. So maybe not as well traveled as you, but reasonably well traveled. And I've got a couple of rules, and a lot of that's been on business, some on pleasure, but a lot of on business. But even when I'm on business, I have a couple of rules. One is I always want to go to the local renowned place of worship. So the biggest church or the biggest mosque. So in Istanbul, I've been to the Blue Mosque, for an example, and wanting to see those places of worship and try to do it during an actual ceremony or mass. And so in St. Peter's Basilica, I actually had communion in St. Peter's Basilica, which was an incredible experience. I want to go to the town square, whatever the main square is, to get the excitement of that. I want to go to the restaurant and have the local food, of course. And then I want to get some live music. And I really want to enjoy in either a small or a large setting, local live music.
I will add one more thing to
Okay.
it. Always travel by public transport.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
That's a good one,
I
yeah.
never take
Yeah.
cabs, or it's not about being able to afford it or not. But if you really need to feel the vibe or feel the depth of that particular place or a city, always travel public transport, go around in that will give you the real taste of that city, because you
I
will
give
see
that,
common
yeah.
people, you will interact with them, you'll talk to them, you will learn more about the place.
Well, my live music is my sort of way of interacting, because if you go to a nice restaurant or a nice bar or a nice concert or something like that, you end up meeting people and talking and getting that experience. And so I've been to opera houses in probably a dozen cities, and some of the best experiences I've had have been in cafes or restaurants or bars where I end up listening to live music and meeting the people that are there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's everyone's own way of actually getting into that depth.
Yep.
The depth
Experiencing that place.
The depth I was talking about. So if you get that depth in live music shows, that's nothing.
And not just take a tourist tour of the place.
No, I hardly do it anymore, because it's all the same stuff everywhere.
But here you've traveled 60 countries and you choose to emigrate to Canada. Why Canada?
When I was young and I started my business, and I used to come all the time to North America, and when I came to Canada, somehow till date, right from the day one in 2001, and when I first came to Canada till today, I mean, there is no place after India, where I was born, of course, where I feel at home than in Canada. The kind of society Canada is: free, open, diverse. Everybody, I think, has a home.
Free, open, diverse.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's a great description.
So everybody, I think, I have not met even a single person who is not comfortable calling Canada their home. I mean, after wherever they come from, I meet people from different nationalities, from as far as Asia, Africa, I don't know what all places. But everybody, one thing they have in common is they say, like, Canada is the best place to raise your family or to live or to make a living. And that's what I have felt it right from day one. I mean, Canada gives you all the opportunities to do whatever you want to do, in a way, whatever you want to do. It has all the ingredients to make you successful.
And you came here and you got involved in the real estate business, I understand?
It was again by accident. I mean, my original background is international trade and international logistics. And when I came here, I started with that, but then I got this opportunity to get involved with one real estate development project. I liked it because, unlike any other regular day-to-day operation business, real estate gives you that opportunity to have free time and do stuff which I like and which you appreciate.
Yeah, no question. And in this real estate, do you take on partners, and are they domestic partners or?
No, I have some overseas partners back from India, and again, why I work with these are my old long-time friends. Working with friends always gives you an opportunity to meet them again and again.
Yep.
They can visit me, I can go back to them. And
oh, really? So you
whatnot.
travel back to India to see them?
Quite often. I would go to India at least 4 or 5 times in a year.
4 or 5 times a year?
Yeah.
And stay how long?
2 to 4 weeks max, sometimes a week also. I've been to as short as 24-hour trip.
Yeah. So, I think you're an interesting case study, and a case study that I wanted to exhibit, frankly, to our watchers, our audience, because I think that Mississauga is a city of newcomers. 57% of people in Mississauga have lived in Mississauga and lived in Canada for less than 10 years. And so, we've got a city that is primarily a majority of newcomers. And so it's people like yourselves, and it's people from India, from Pakistan, from Bangladesh, from Poland, from the Ukraine, from China, from everywhere around the world. And they come here, and some stay with 2 feet planted in their home country. And they worry about the politics in their home country and the religion of their home country and the athletics of their home country, and they're completely focused on what's going back home. And then others completely divorce themselves from what's going on in their home country and are only focused on what's going on in Canada. And I think you're a great example of someone who's got 2 feet planted, 1 foot in Canada, 1 foot in your home country. And I think that's what makes us strong. I think that's the beauty of the diversity, the strength of diversity. You are bringing in Indian investors to real estate opportunities in Canada. And I think that the secret to success. What we need in Mississauga is to trade more with India, with Bangladesh, with Saudi Arabia, with Morocco, with Poland, etc., and bring investors from there and take our investment to there and exploit this opportunity. Otherwise, what are we? We're just a city of people that are stuck in silos.
You know, every situation in life you can actually compare to your personal experiences and relate to it. I always see it like your home country, wherever you're born, is like your parents, right? You move to Canada, it's like getting into a marriage, having your children and your family and everything. So besides looking after your current family, which is your wife and children, you also have some responsibility towards your parents.
Yeah.
So I see that, like in today's immigrant, I see that we all need to realize that importance and find the right balance to basically connect the two countries, two economies for mutual benefit of the whole family. So like that is when I go back to India, I always propagate all the good things about Canada. And similarly, when I'm in Canada, I always tell them all the good things about India. So I'm always in for more opportunities, both sides. I want Canadian companies, not just the Indian people. I want all the Canadians, because India being one of the biggest consumer markets in the world,
yeah.
I want all Canadian companies to have some sort of involvement or interest of doing business in India.
So not enough people do what you do, Ritesh. How do we get more people to do what you do? You know, too many people, I go to too many events that's, you know, it's all Polish, or it's all Ukrainian, or it's all Indian, or it's all, Pakistani. Or it's all Italian.
I think
we don't get together, whether it's socially or business, often enough.
I think another good thing or good way to do is basically whatever chamber of commerces we have or trade promotion organizations for particular countries. I mean, I think they need to change their mindset. Like say, for example, Indo-Canadian Chamber of Commerce or Canada-India Foundation for that matter. They need to go out and look for members who are not just Indians, people like Canadian, Polish, Chinese, everybody. These days, you know, economies are all interconnected. The world is one world, or like one place. All countries are interconnected. Everybody wants to do business everywhere. So the more, Canada is perfect stage for that, in the sense like if I was living in India, I only was interacting with Indians. But in Canada, without even traveling, you get the best of the world.
The analogy that I like that's comparable to your grandparent analogy is the tree. And I think that the roots back to our home countries and our friends and our schools and, you know, the places that we've come from are the roots that give us a strong foundation. But then the trunk is maybe our religion, maybe our faith, maybe our strong local group. But then to flourish, we need to branch out. And we need to and we need to have the leaves that branch out all over, and that's where we get our nourishment from.
Yeah.
And so I think the branching out is the branching out to all different people and all different races and all different cultures and different countries. And you need all three. You need the roots, the foundation. You need the strength through your family or your group, and you need the branching out.
And in Canada, you have the right environment to grow as much as you want
to do it. Fantastic. Well, Ritesh Malik, entrepreneur and inspirational person, thank you for joining us on the Brian Crombie Show.
Brian. Thanks for having
me. Canada One TV. Thank you all for joining us. And we're on once a week with interesting people, politics, business, economics, lifestyle, social, and lots of things. Thanks for joining us.